What are some of the important things on your checklist that we should be doing right now that maybe a lot of businesses are not doing?
First of all, I think talking about cyber as business, I think is really fundamental. I've had the great luck of having 7 IPOs when I was at Venrock, and I'm now on 2 public boards now. And the one thing I know about executives and boardrooms is they understand numbers. You've got to measure things. Out of all my years at Venrock investing in cyber companies, no one ever brought a deal to me that measured whether or not you'd done it right, or that you were doing it right, or even gave me any kind of score. It wasn't necessary. But in a world where we don't know what the threats look like, we have all this complicated technology, we don't understand how it all works, we don't even have a clear map of all the connections and where the data is. We need to score it. We need to understand it. So if you come in, if you're the CIO, you come to the board meeting and you say, I need $10 million, I'm going to invest it here, here, and here over the next year, I'm going to likely say, that's great, Vanessa, but can you prove to me a year from now that you spent the money well and that you addressed the really important things? That's a new concept, and my company introduced scoring 2 years ago. We called it the Digital Resilience Score. So how ready are you? How well do you know your network? It's a first approximation to having an inventory of what you have. Let's just start there. How many computers do you have? How many routers do you have? How many connections do you have? Let's just start with that. But then you do all the other analytics that goes along with it. So measurement, that's another key thing. And people can come up with their own measures. You know, there are lots of ways to think about things. We've got one that's really simple. I think, with all due respect, board members like simple metrics. Is the profit more? Is the revenue more? Is the market share more? Is it less? It's a simple question. Are we getting better? Are we getting worse? I think today in this cyber world we need to measure more. You need to have an expert at the table. Someone probably needs to explain occasionally, like you say, getting into the weeds. You're going to go into the weeds. You are. If you've got an attack, you're in the weeds. The other thing, and this is, I'm not sure where Target fits in this category, but general counsel. You need to have, I think the best general counsel are great lawyers, but they're also good advisors. You know, a lawyer's job is to keep you out of trouble, but a counselor's job is when you're in trouble, what are my options, and what does it cost me, and what are the risks? So you need to have someone there, not just the technical side, but also from that other side. You're a business person. You're running this business. Tell me what my choices are. If someone could have said to the CEO of Target, you know, the technical guy says, if you give me a week or a day or whatever it is, I can cure this problem. Then the legal guy or the risk guy can say, you know, that's a reasonable thing to do. Let him do it, and we'll be back revenuing in 2 days or whatever. That's a conversation you cannot have with yourself. You cannot. So you need to have the right people in the room. And then sort of the fourth thing I would say, look, you're going to get hit because it's already in your network. As John Chambers, the former CEO of Cisco, says, there are 2 kinds of people in the world, right? 2 kinds of companies in the world, those who've been attacked and those who don't yet know that they've been attacked. You need to have a plan. You ask, what can go wrong? And who am I going to call, right? And what am I going to do? What happens at 3 in the morning when I get that phone call from my CIO who's just been pulled out of bed by his security knock somewhere in India or wherever it might be? I got a problem. It's that famous line from Apollo 13. Houston, I got a problem. We have a problem. That's a pretty big deal. And so you have to have a plan and you have to rehearse it. The best companies, and I've met many of them, they're well down that path of having their own little fire departments to deal with it. So those are, you know, and then of course you need to have RedSeal on your network so that you understand exactly what you have and what you can do with it if you had a problem.
The good news is, obviously, you can bounce back. You can recover and survive an attack.
Yes, I think it becomes a competitive weapon. What if I'm prepared, and what if I have an attack? It used to be the world was, oh, no, I'm not going to talk about my cyber because I don't want anybody to know I've got these issues. I had a cyber attack. You, Mr. Customer, did you suffer? No. We're still in business and we're growing. I can use that as a competitive weapon, right? It's like that seal of trust or whatever, underwriter's laboratory or something like that. It's known. I think a role the government has, and we didn't really talk about that much, but we need some compliance. We need more. you buy a car, it's been tested and certified. You buy a house, it's been tested and certified for occupancy. This building's been certified for occupancy. Is your network certified for occupancy?
We're moving away from that, though, in our government, more or less, as opposed to more oversight. We're trying to move to less oversight. So
yeah, it's risky.
maybe this is not the time for that.
I don't think so, but
Maybe they're just leaving it up to individual businesses.
That's when I'm asked, actually, and I get asked this question a lot, particularly by state legislatures and such. I just say, the feds are having a hard time figuring out what to do here. Maybe you as a state, and you need to take the actions to protect your constituents. It turns out most of the data about us is in state governments. I mean, yeah, there's the IRS and all that, but think about it. Your driver's license, all your arrest records or legal records or lawsuits, all your taxes, all that stuff is local. Your voting registrations, all that, that's local, it's not federal.
We didn't even get into medical records.
No, we didn't get into that, but yeah, that's all local too. So that's where, so I think the states have a particularly important role to play here.